Greetings and welcome to another video. Today we got the battle system changes for 7.1, in which, we hope to see some changes to the Pictomancer or even some buffs to all other jobs or all other casters at least. So let's hop into that and see what we're getting for today's patch, which will just be released in some hours. So good time to just check this beforehand. Alright, so we have each action and trait is listed as it appears at level 100. Okay, for further explanations of action changes and adjustments, please refer to the job guide. Okay, so maybe we'll check that later. Paladin has its cover range extended. Okay, Intervene is now acquired earlier on 66, and Hallowed Ground, the effects of this action will now applied earlier. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe the hit detection system they did in PvP also has some effects on PvE, and they just took some lessons into that and improved this here as well. Yeah, maybe we have a more snappier Hallowed Ground, and also, Home Gang is also applied here. And Living Dead, it basically goes to all the cooldowns on all tanks here. Marauder Warrior. Okay, so Home Gang, we talked about that. Now it's also being applied earlier. Chaotic Cyclone, the hit detection for this action will now trigger earlier. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing, because I always felt like Chaotic Cyclone has a very late detection or a late effect when the animation has rolled off and damage was presented way later. Okay, real changes on Dark Knight. Dark Knight now also reads physical damage. Okay. That's nice. I'm not sure if that fixes the issues the Dark Knight is still having, but it's one way into the right direction. At least I heard Xeno talk about this topic a lot, that Dark Knight only works against magical damage, and we have so much magical damage inside the tier right now. Yeah, this is definitely a good one. Good into the right direction. Living Dead, that's what we talked about on Home Gang and Hallowed Ground. Abyssal Drain cure potency has been increased from 200 to 500. Wow. Okay, so if you use that on a big pull, you're absolutely stacked with healing at the second your this effect comes in place. And Carve and Spit also has now restores own HP, has been added with a cure potency of 500. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is not bad, especially if you do solo content, for example, or if your healer died or your group died and you still want to keep the fight going. That's not too bad, but I think otherwise Carve and Spit is being used inside of a spot of the rotation where you don't really need that heal. You want to use that as soon as possible inside of your burst window. You don't want to keep this for healing, so I'm not sure if that's the right ability where this potency should be added to, but of course it makes sense in contrast to the Abyssal Drain healing. But weird, but I think good. I'm not sure. Blood Spiller potency has been increased, and the whole Delirium combo has been increased by 20 potency. That's not too bad. I think I have seen the recent FF logs data for Dark Knight, and it actually doesn't seem too bad and performs very nicely, especially if you take into account the A DPS and not the R DPS, because R DPS doesn't work for tanks in my opinion, because they don't buff anyone else, and the buffs are kind of received in the same way on all of them because the 2-minute burst window is applied evenly. But so far that's actually buffed to only the Dark Knight on damage side. But we'll see about Gunbreaker though. And also Dark Missionary now is being acquired at level 66 instead of 76. So is being used on the old Stormblood ultimates, which is not bad. And also reduces physical damage taken by 5%. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, TBN is still something you hate or love, but Dark Mind and Dark Missionary now having a physical damage aspect, that's not bad. I would say that's a big win for Dark Knight, to be fair. I think that's a big win, even though it's not a full and complete win, but it's a win. Alright, so Gunbreaker. Aurora has been increased by 100 on its potency, and the effects of Super Bolide will also be applied earlier now, like on all the other tanks, and it no longer reduces HP to 1, instead of reduces HP to 50% of maximum. 50%, okay, so you're basically not killing yourself anymore, you're just hurting yourself now. That's actually cool, and I think, yeah, gives a good buff to Super Light. And Heart of Light also gets the treatment of Dark Mind and getting a 5% physical damage aspect, or better said, the treatment of Dark Missionary in its value. And Hyper Velocity is being reduced in the normal value and the Melee Mastery trait. Because, okay, let's see, cartridge cost has been, okay, double down cartridge cost has been reduced from 2 to 1. That's massive, because now, yeah, you can use another Burst Strike for the cost of the same double down before, and of course makes double down way more accessible now. And for every time you're just, yeah, haven't calculated your cartridge stack accumulation properly, now you have 1 instead of 2, which is definitely something that makes a big difference in smoothness, and yeah, you're not failing too hard if you forget about this and didn't manage your accumulation properly. Yeah, this seems to be accommodating for that, because yeah, 1 burst strike is 460 potency if I remember, and this is basically giving you 1. You have to, of course, take into account that you would otherwise use another job action or another skill that also deals damage, but I think Burst Strike is superior here. Yeah, and Hyper Velocity is the after attack, so you're basically just, they reduce that to accommodate the 1 Burst Strike. Yeah, I would say overall a slight buff to damage if you calculate that. I haven't done the math here, but it feels like it should be a buff and makes Gunbreaker and Dark Knight take the lead in damage so far. And of course, I'm curious about the new changes to Super Belite, Living Dead, Hallowed Ground, and Holmgang. So yeah, quite nice on the tanks so far. Alright, so Dragoon changes. Piercing Talon, the trait Lance Master will now increase potency from 150 to 200. The effect Enhanced Piercing Talon has been added, which increases potency to 350. Elusive Jump now, the additional effect grants Piercing Talon. Enhanced Piercing Talon has been added with a duration of 15 seconds. Yeah, this sounds a lot like Reaper. I'm not sure if it fixes the issues that some Dragoon players had on especially M1S or M2S, where some mechanics just have you standing there and using your ranged attacks. Or even if you have to be careful in M3S. Yeah, it's definitely a buff, and definitely something that at least gives Dragoons the same features and traits that Reaper has on that spot. But yeah, I'm not sure if that fixes the issues there. Gearskogul stacks of Nastrand ready granted has been reduced from 3 to 1. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I haven't leveled Dragoon to 100, but I feel like this is one of the better things in Dawntrail. And now they revert that. Potency has been increased to accommodate that. Potency has been increased on Nastrand, on Mirage Dive. Star Diver and Starcross now has 20 arms range. Okay, this in combination with the Piercing Talon is not too bad. If you can keep Starcross for anything that's range dependent, then it's not a bad deal, and kinda in line with what the Reaper is having. I'm not sure about this though. It feels like it's easier to use now because from 3 GCDs to 1, but this was fun. I don't know. Yeah, you have to tell me, Dragoon mains, if that's cool or not. Mary, give me a comment here if you're watching the video, if that's cool or not. I'm not sure about this. I'm split kinda. Ninja, throwing dagger. The trait Melee Mastery 2 will now increase its potency from 120 to 200. Okay. Dream Within a Dream potency buffs. That's something you don't use that often, right? Or is it just the proc? No. Yeah, okay, that's a mild buff. Attack has been changed from single target to a cone, dealing damage with a potency of 300 to the first target and 25% less for all remaining enemies on Dukumori. That seems to be a new ability because I'm not remembering that from the Endwalker. And I'm just level 94 on Ninja, so yeah, that's not too bad because I felt like the AoE rotation was a bit lacking on Ninja. And wow, Tenchi Jin. Players can now move while under the effect of Tenchi Jin. Okay. This was the only skill capping stone for some people that you just interrupted this cast sequence sometimes, and now you can just do it by moving. And don't interrupt that. Okay, that's a big one. This is definitely usability change that's massive. Tenri Jindo, the hit detection of this action will trigger now earlier. Okay, yeah. They worked on the hit detection, not on PvP alone, it seems. So yeah, Throwing Dagger, this kinda works in the same way like Piercing Talon does, but maybe not as effective, as Ninja has some range capabilities before that as well. But yeah, I think that's not too bad. Yeah, kind of rounds up the whole impression of a ninja, and especially Tenchi Jin now makes it way more easy to access and use. Okay, Samurai Hisatsu Gyoten. Recast time has been reduced from 10 to 5 seconds. Potency from Gyofo has been increased, and Sanshin has been increased by 80. Okay, that's just one attack that you use not so much, but inside of your burst window. Yeah, quite nice. I've seen samurais just yesterday that pushed some very big damage output, but it always felt like the Viper is a bit ahead, so maybe that accommodates this trait and effect. Tendo Kashi Setsugeka, the character motions and visual effects for this action have been changed. Yeah, feels like the hit detection system and stuff is being the reason for that. Okay, Reaper. Cane Circle, Circle of Sacrifice effect now also grants stacks of Immortal Sacrifice when you or party members successfully land an ability. An ability. Oh yeah, it feels like this is OGCDs included, if I'm not mistaken. And after learning the action Community, the hotbar icon will no longer be eliminated when remaining Lemur Shroud stacks are at 1. Okay, nice. Yeah, I know that many Reaper players, I think all Reaper players, have run into the situation that they just didn't use the final blow on Communio instead and just used it on the normal Void Reaping or Cross Reaping or Grim Reaping. I think that happened to all of us at least once, and now it's definitely easier to manage this and don't run into that trap. Executioner's Gallows, the hit detection will now trigger earlier. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of a buff. You're getting access to Cane Circle or Immortal Sacrifice stacks earlier and faster. But that works for the whole party, I guess. So overall, I think that the buff should last in the same length, but have the increased value longer. So this might actually become very relevant in RDPS for the whole party. Yeah, that's actually a Reaper change on RDPS, it feels, and definitely on ease of access here and not getting trapped into this trap anymore. Okay, Machinist. Yeah, let's go. That's what I'm looking forward to, and I hope I'm not getting disappointed. Heated Clean Shot. That you really don't use that often because there's so much else to click. I just yesterday I thought about, hey, I'm not really using the normal standard combo that much, but at least it gets a potency buff of 20. Yeah, that's not too much. I guess if this alone would be in here, you wouldn't recognize that at all. Blazing Shot, however, potency has been increased from... Okay, this is definitely another thing. Blazing Shot is used frequently, and yeah, buffing this by 20 is not too bad. I think this could be recognizable as just a single buff. Then we have we have Flamethrower, more Yams in range, and potency buff. I would love to see it being introduced back into the AoE rotation with that change. I haven't done the math, but it could be back in the AoE rotation, at least when you don't have cooldowns available. But yeah, still, the AoE rotation of Machinist is not too cool. There are much other jobs that have way better AoE rotations. Okay, Double Check and Checkmate have their potency increased by 10. Okay, this doesn't seem too significant, but I can tell you, I think these are used so much that it actually does matter a lot. In combination with Blazing Shot that reactivates or reduces the recast timer of them by 15 seconds, yeah, this is quite significant. And the burst phase or the Blazing Shot phase is something that you use quite a lot. The Hypercharge phase you basically use every time you have your burst up, and very often in between that as well. So I'm nearly maxed out on gear except for the last boss, but yeah, I was thinking like, hey, that's not too shabby. If I had got the Dancer buff instead of the Viper, I would have beaten the Viper, even though there are Pictomancers with 30k, I know that. But this comes very handy and close to maybe getting inside of the Pictomancer range. Not beating it, but definitely inside of the range if there are no changes to Pictomancer. Yeah, I'm quite interested to see if that's enough or if we still need some buffs here. Alright, so what about Dancer? Fandance and Fandance 3 getting potency buff by 30 and 20 respectively, and Curing Walls will have its area of effect increased by 2. Dancers, I hope that's something good for you, but yeah, overall not too much potency. I think this is way more. You don't use Fandance too much in comparison to Double Check and Checkmate. Black Mage, cast time on Flare has been reduced from 4 to 3 seconds, so much better AoE damage potential now. Leyline's now a charged action with maximum of 2 charges. What? Cannot be executed while under the effect of Leylines. Yeah, of course, stacking this would be crazy. Like, imagine casting as fast with 2 Leylines attached. But yeah, this is a big one. This is a big one. Because I always felt like Leylines kind of drifted on the Black Mage rotation. I had to adjust the rotation to make it work, but it never did. So I guess that changes this and fixes that problem. Despair, the trait enhanced Astrophy, will now make the cast time instant. Wow, okay. Okay, this is one of the big stepping stones that sometimes you just want to use Despair or cast Despair at the last second, and you can't make it because you have to move because the boss would otherwise kill you. And this is the big one. These are massive changes here. Even though in Nokian effect, potency has been reduced by 1%, so it's basically a 1% decrease in damage overall. Yeah, but 2 charges of ley lines to get maybe 1 or 2 for a whole encounter more, which is massive. I think this is definitely stronger than just reducing this by 1%. So it feels like, I'm not sure what they tell in the job description or job guide, but this feels like a buff. And I guess it might be. And especially Despair is definitely handy for movement here. Yeah, so far, that's definitely a good one. Big W for Black Mage here. Summoner, Crimson Cyclone. The additional effect grants Crimson Strike Ready has been added. The effect ends upon the execution of certain summoner actions. Okay. Crimson Strike, this is the follow-up. No longer a combo action. Instead requires the effect of Crimson Strike Ready for execution. Yeah, this is actually quite nice because I remember on M3S when you have the octuple attack, you have to go back as a summoner, and I always felt like I was stuck in this combo and I could not use anything else and had to wait or just drop it, and now you can just do something else. I guess when they tell the effect ends upon the execution of certain summoner actions, they mean if you summon something else, which definitely makes sense because then the ability is getting replaced. Summon Ifrit, Titan 2 and Garuda 2 have their potency increase on all their summoning attacks, and okay, yeah, that's 50 potency there. That's not too bad. It's a big attack, and Sunflare is getting a buff from 700 to 800. It's a buff nonetheless, so let's just celebrate that it's a buff, and we'll see how that affects the overall balancing. I think still not in a bad position overall, but it's just because of Pictomancer being so powerful that all the other casters are. Yeah, Red Mage also buffs on the whole burst window. Verflare, Verholy, Scorch, Resolution all get some buffs. 30 potency on Verflare and Verholy. Scorch has 50 and Resolution as well. Not too shabby. I think that's not too bad. Pictomancer, okay. Oh, this is actually very, very interesting and relevant, but it's not doing anything. Okay. Yeah, they stated that. Let's be fair. They stated they don't want to nerf Pictomancer, and I think they will just keep it at that powerful state. And so far, it's not in a bad position because I have seen Pictomancers range from very low DPS to very high DPS, so it's still a skill factor at some point. And not as close as the Black Mage, but I think it's definitely way more, yeah, difficult to play, not difficult to play, but difficult to perform very to the max as a Red Mage or a Summoner could do, or a Machinist, for example. I can basically just hammer in my skills whenever they are sparkling on Machinist, and that works perfectly fine. And Pictomancer has lots of more theory and thinking in advance to make their rotation work in Savage encounters. So yeah, and they basically get a pawn will now appear on your canvas upon entering instance duties or when restarting an encounter. So you don't have to cast that before and automatically get this, so you can't F this up. Okay. Stereo Muse, the ground effect will no longer appear when battle effects are set to show limited. Oh yeah, I was always thinking about why I see this effect when I have my limited battle effects applied. Yeah, it seems like a bug fix here or something. Alright, so overall something we have been expecting because of what Yoshida said in an interview earlier. But I'm still a bit disappointed. To be fair, I think it feels like a step into the right direction, but it could definitely see some mild adjustments in the further patches, especially when Ultimate comes out. I guess there won't be a party without Pictomancer, or it would be hard decision to not take a Pictomancer into that Ultimate fight. Healers. Asuna is now an instant cast, which is definitely great. Great buff for all healers. And White Mage. Holy cast time has been reduced from 2.5 to 1.5 seconds, and Holy 3 gets the same treatment. Yes, this is definitely a massive buff for a re-rotation. Doesn't change and fix the issues on Savage or anything, but yeah, especially 10 potency on Glare 3 doesn't do that as well. And the Flatus Misery on 40 potency, I'm not sure about that. And Divine Caress has its area effect being increased from 15 to 30 yalms. Yeah, not the changes that White Mage mains would have wanted, but at least now your AoE rotation is more smooth. And I actually did like the cast time on Holy and Holy 3 because you had to think in advance to make it used properly. But hey, yeah, now it's just easier and more in line with the other healers, of course. Embrace, Adloquium, Succor, Seraphic Veil, Consultation, Manifestation, Accession have all their MP cost been reduced. No, Seraphic Veil has the cure potency increased. And Embrace as well. So yeah, Fairy is healing more and maybe shielding more, and everything on the AoE heals has been reduced on its mana. MP, sorry. And yeah, all the AoE heals have been their MP cost reduced, and Succor as well. Yeah, overall some MP cost reduction, overall MP management increase and improvement, and some heal on the Fairy increase. That's definitely not too significant, but of course Embrace is being spammed by the Fairy, and 30 potency, quite a 15% buff actually, or 12% buff. That's definitely not too bad. I'm not sure how much Embrace actually heals in a fight, in a whole fight encounter scenario. I'm not sure how much Embrace actually heals in a Savage fight environment, but this could definitely be a buff that is recognizable at least. Okay, Sage, Astrologian. If area of effect has been increased on Gravity and Gravity 2. Yeah, not too bad. And Prognosis MP cost has been... maybe actually the AoE range here for the new 24 Alliance rate? I'm not sure. Could be the case because of larger hitboxes there for very big enemies. We'll see about that. Sage has Prognosis MP cost reduced, Eucrasian Diagnosis, Prognosis, and Doses 3, Toxicon 2, Pneuma have their potency increased by 10, and Eucrasian Prognosis 2 has the MP cost reduced, and Philosophia area effect has been increased. Yeah, these seem to be changing very similarly, except for the White Mage having some actual buffs on damage output. And yeah, of course, here we have also some potency buffs. And that's it. That's it. Okay. So far, we don't have any PvP changes in Christine Conflict being shown here, but I think they are present. You have to just check out the job guide for that. and this would definitely take me 2 hours to read through this. So yeah, take a look at that. I will just test it out in game and give you my feedback in the form of a tier list, or what job I can recommend now after the changes in the new season. And of course, the frontline changes have been mentioned here, and it's basically just some adjustments to damage dealt and damage taken in the minus negative values. So definitely take a look at that. This is quite something that could be interesting to some people that enjoy frontline. I hate frontline, and I'm basically not playing this and trying to avoid this except for doing my daily there, because it's just too chaotic. It doesn't work for me on Final Fantasy XIV. And Rival Wings, yeah, the same thing applies here too. Check it out as well. But yeah, of course, Christian Conflict, in my opinion, is the real deal for PvP, and something I actually really enjoy. So let's check this out on the live server whenever I got the time to do and play PvP. So yeah, take a look at that and stick around for more info on that. Yeah, there have been some maximum HP adjustments for all jobs. I'm not sure if that works for all the PvP. Yeah. Here, for more details regarding changes to actions and traits, please refer to the Final Fantasy job guide. There seems to be a lot of things that have been changed, but overall the HP values have been altered massively, basically being increased. I'm not sure if that's to accommodate the changes on the job guide or increases in potency, or if it just makes everything a bit more strategical and you have more maximum HP to work with. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. We'll test it in-game and don't go through every single job adjustment here. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. It had been a longer video than I expected, even though the changes were not too significant. So yeah, let's see how that affects, especially on Machinist. I'm very curious if the small changes make it come back into the meta a bit and rearrange its position. Even though I never felt like I'm lacking damage when I played the Machinist now in the current tier. I was really pumping out good damage values and didn't feel like I'm falling behind too much. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the patch 7.1 as best as you can. Take your time to enjoy it properly and don't rush through content. And of course, stick around for showcase videos and all the other content that will be uploaded on this channel. And of course, for more info, also check out the other awesome content creators like Mr. Happy, Meoni, Cole, etc. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a nice day, and until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep loving Final Fantasy.